Today we're going to discuss how you can integrate Teamwork, which is a wonderful project management tool, with FileMaker, where you've built your own custom business workflows and can leverage the power of Teamwork to improve those workflows and potentially adapt your business to using other tools that you don't have to maintain yourself. The first place we're going to start is in Teamwork on their developer site, developer.teamwork.com. And here there are going to be two critical things that we'll take a look at. One will be the dashboard, which you'll get through this login button. And the other will be the API reference documents, which you can see here under the Teamwork API. Now, there are also other aspects of Teamwork that you can integrate with, like Teamwork Desk, Teamwork Spaces, the chat, the CRM. We're going to focus just on Teamwork for now, but all those APIs are available here. We'll go ahead and start with the developer portal, which is where you'll create the app that will provide the credential information for this integration. So in the developer portal, you can create the app. I've already done this one just as an example. And after filling out some really basic information about what you're going to name it and what the redirect URL is going to be, it will create this app with a client ID and a client secret, which we'll need in our file. Over here, there are some instructions for actually getting that app created, and we've provided a link to the developer portal within this file for you. You can download this file at the end of the article. And there are a few key things that you'll want to make sure are filled out here. After creating the app, of course, you want your Teamwork URL, so this is the one for your company, as well as the client ID and the client key. Both of those are coming from here, so this could be client key, client secret. You could name it however you wish, but those are the same things here. And you need a valid redirect URL. So you want to make sure that that's a URL that you can get to, and it's a way that this authentication will know that you're authenticating properly. Once those things are done, it's as simple as hitting this lovely Get Token button and signing in. So I'll go ahead and sign in with my account here. And after we've done that, you'll see we get back an access token. The access token will allow us to make calls and get and add and generally leverage the API information once we get there. So we'll go ahead and look at what we can do with that next. For the purposes of this article and video, we're going to focus on one aspect of the Teamwork API, which would be the task module. Now, there are obviously a lot of other ways that Teamwork allows us to integrate our application with Teamwork, and you may have many other use cases for doing so, but we're going to focus on this one thing so that we can get a good view in how to execute these calls and what kind of things we can expect back from Teamwork. Now, the first item we're going to tackle is getting tasks so that we can later update them. Teamwork allows us multiple methods for getting tasks, and we can look at that on the API in the background here. They give us an option for getting all tasks across all projects, or just on a specific project, or even on a specific task list, which is generally a task list within a project. You could also even retrieve just a specific task. And many, many others, as you can kind of see down below. What I'll show you here is getting tasks off a specific project so that we can limit this video down to just a few tasks and not have to wait for this thing to run. Now, to get a project ID, you could program a further call over to get your own projects, and that's certainly a useful thing to do. However, you can also grab the ID right out of the URL in your project. So that's a useful way for us to kind of shortcut through here and go ahead and add this project ID. And from there, we can go ahead and make the call and download our information. And doing this is pretty simple. And if you look at the call that we're making, we're really asking for, after projects, the ID of the projects and any tasks that are on there. And you can, of course, filter that request further. And one of the most useful of these is kind of at the end here, which would be updated after date. And so if you were syncing over time, you could keep track of when you had last updated or the last task you had pulled, and look at everything that was updated after that point. That's a nice way to optimize what you're getting back and reduce how much you actually have to work through. So coming back over here, we can see that we've gotten pulled through 2 of our tasks, and if we look at what we have here on our task list, we can see that we actually had those 2 tasks. Very nice. So the next part of this would be updating. So right now, there's nothing that needs to be updated. We haven't changed anything. So I'll go ahead and assign a due date for this task for, let's say, today. And let's go ahead and assign the next one for next week. And now, of course, we have the option to update these tasks with this information. And this is where the integration can really come to life and start interacting with your workflow in FileMaker. If you have tasks that are managed in Teamwork and that are actionable or have some kind of other trigger in your FileMaker system, we could have an integration like this to detect when changes are made in one system or the other and sync them up or create notifications to your users, all those kinds of lovely things. In this case, we're going to update this task here now that it's been created in Teamwork, and we're going to assign it a due date that's going to be driven from FileMaker. When I do that, this page doesn't always refresh super smoothly, so we're going to go ahead and refresh that page. And you'll see in here that we have a due today mark now on this task, and a due next week mark on this task. Updating that is actually pretty simple. All we really need to do is know what ID from Teamwork we are working with and use that in the URL to submit the updates that we want to make. Now, of note here, Teamwork in their version 1 API refers to tasks as a to-do item, which changes later in their more recent API versions, which are currently in beta, at least the v3, which does have some of the same actions for tasks. However, because it's in beta, these things are changing. We don't really recommend working with it yet unless you want to be keeping a constant eye on what those changes are in case they end up breaking something for you. However, the v1 and the v2 of the task updating work very, very well, and we have many, many options of things that we need to pass with excellent documentation for the most part of how those things need to be passed. So of note here, we changed the due date, and that's going to end up being a string value that's essentially a compressed year, month, day format. So you'll need to make sure that you're doing some manipulation in FileMaker so that that ends up nice and friendly. However, within this demo file that we have for you, all that's already being handled, and you can reference it for any questions that you might have. So one additional thing that I'll show you that we can do with this integration is optimize when things are syncing so that we're not always pulling everything. So I can show that to you here real quick by basically changing the due date on this task to Monday, and I'm not going to sync it this time. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and pull this, and because we've already synced through, sorry, I did just change that, so we'll do this again. Since I haven't changed this now in Teamwork yet, when I come back and pull this through, it's not going to update this task until we sync it again, and then it'll update over in Teamwork now. And if we decide that we're going to pull that one more time here, it'll update us again so that we're together. So that's another useful part of this integration. We can limit what we are pulling back to only those things that have been synced since the last time, as we talked about. And that allows you not to pull everything every single time, which Teamwork will thank you for, and so will your file, because things will run much more quickly. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we really only focused on a very small part of what you can do with this integration. And if you're looking to integrate your FileMaker solution with Teamwork and better manage your own workflows and would like some help, please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to provide you not only the ability to get that integration going, but some consulting on how best to integrate those two things together and get the most out of them so that you can really own your business and own your own processes while leveraging some powerful tools that exist out there.